Pay attention today. You're going to discover who you truly are. Stay with me because what you're about to hear isn't a coincidence. It's the answer your soul has been searching for. Your resistance has not been in vain, and here you will understand the purpose of every battle you have fought. You don't need inexplicable miracles. You need to understand the strength that already resides within you and how to activate it right now. This message is designed to remind you that your story doesn't end with the struggle, but with the victory that has already begun. Have you ever stopped to think about who you truly are when the noise of the world fades away? I'm not talking about your name, your job, or what others say about you. I'm talking about that essence that beats in your chest and has survived storms others can't even imagine. It's time to stop seeing yourself through the clouded glass of your limitations. Often, circumstances try to define us. They tell us we are failures because something didn't go well, or weak because tears flowed. But today I want to invite you to a profound reflection. The strength you possess is not measured by the absence of problems, but by the ability to remain standing when everything seems to be collapsing. You are a being of light, an unbreakable spirit forged in the fire of experience. There's a strength that isn't found in muscles or human logic. It's a silent energy that builds deep within your soul. Perhaps you don't feel it right now, but if you look back, you'll realize that you survived situations that, in theory, should have broken you. That's the clearest proof that something much greater than yourself is holding you up. Every sleepless night, every moment when silence was your only companion, and every tear that soaked your bedroom floor was not in vain. It wasn't time wasted. It was a process of refinement. Think of a diamond. It only reaches its maximum brilliance after being subjected to extreme pressure. That's how your life has been. The battles you face weren't meant to destroy you, but to sculpt the best version of yourself. It's natural that in moments of greatest anguish you may have wondered where divine guidance was. It's human to question why pain or confusion is allowed. However, the promise was never an obstacle-free path. The true promise is that you would never walk alone. Even when the whisper of doubt was louder than your hope, an unseen hand held yours. The strength that allows you to hear these words today wasn't born of your human will or a simple desire to go on. It was planted like a seed in the soil of your spirit. And even though the ground may seem barren or dry, that seed has been secretly growing. There is a special wisdom in turning deserts into gardens and victims into life's teachers. Now comment, I accept my inner strength to seal this truth in your heart. Do you remember that moment when the weight on your chest was almost unbearable, or when betrayal made you shut the doors of trust? In each of those moments, there was a protective force acting in your favor, not like a distant observer, but like a protective presence that softened every blow. Sometimes we think we're lucky to have avoided disaster or to have taken a different route just in time. But it's not luck. It's intuitive guidance speaking directly to your spirit, bypassing the logic of the mind. You've been protected from attacks you didn't even notice. You are still here because when your knees buckled, a breath of hope propelled you to rise once more. You are not an ordinary human being. You are someone who has been preserved for a purpose that transcends the material. Your very existence is a testament to a spiritual victory. Sometimes, the world's time doesn't align with the rhythm of our soul. I know you carry scars a human eye can't see. I'm talking about those wounds inflicted by the betrayal of those you trusted, or the emptiness left by those who should have stayed, but chose to leave. Those hurtful words that remain etched in your memory, and sometimes return like echoes in the silence. I want you to know something. Your pain hasn't gone unnoticed. You're not just another statistic in this vast universe. Every time your heart felt broken, there was a response on the spiritual plane. The healing that begins to flow within you today isn't superficial. It's not a Band-Aid to cover up what still hurts. It's a restoration that reaches a root, the exact place where the pain took root. This process is not rushed. You are not expected to get over it immediately. True recovery requires honesty and patience. We are walking this path layer by layer until peace is your natural state and not a passing exception. If you feel this is your time to heal, subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking together in this daily reflection. Your presence here is essential. You may feel overwhelmed by worries about your physical well-being or diagnoses that cloud your vision of the future. But remember this, The restorative power inherent in life itself surpasses any statistic or human prediction. Life isn't governed by numbers, but by a greater purpose. Sometimes improvement comes readily. Other times it's a gradual process that even guides the professionals around you. In every scenario, the life force remains your greatest ally. The same is true of the battles in your mind. That fog that tries to extinguish your hope, or the thoughts that question your worth, are real, and I don't minimize them. You have been a silent warrior on an invisible battlefield. Every time you chose to believe in your worth, despite the lies that fear whispered to you, you gain ground. It's not just positive thinking. It's an act of spiritual courage. You are winning, even on the days you feel most tired, because your essence cannot be defeated. Stop judging yourself through the lens of your past mistakes. When the light of truth shines upon you, it sees not flaws, but a constantly evolving masterpiece. You are not the result of your falls, but the result of your ability to rise again. Your worth doesn't depend on your performance or how much you accomplish today. You are valuable simply for being who you are. You have been chosen for something great, not by a merit test, but by unconditional grace. You don't need to audition to be loved by life. You are accepted right now, just as you are. There is nothing you can do to make that source of eternal love you less, because its love is not a reaction to your actions, but a reflection of its very nature. Now say with faith, I am a masterpiece in evolution. Let others read your statement. Your existence is not a coincidence or a mistake of fate. Every trait of your personality, your passions, and even your most difficult experiences have been designed with a clear purpose. There are people only you can inspire, words only you can speak with the authority your story gives you. You are not interchangeable. You are irreplaceable. I know you've compared yourself to others, seeing paths that seem straighter or clearer, but comparison steals joy. Your journey is unique. Every apparent delay has been a protection. Every detour, a necessary direction in disguise. That your path doesn't resemble others doesn't mean you're lost. It means you have your own mark to leave on the world. Trust doesn't mean understanding everything. In fact, true trust only arises when we don't have all the answers. It's like a guide's hand holding yours as you cross an unfamiliar place. You don't need to know the physics of motion to know you're safe. Trust that your story will have a happy ending, simply because the source guiding you is good. Let's talk about one of the most silent and effective obstacles we face. Fear. That feeling that tries to paralyze you, that convinces you to stay small when everything inside you is urging you to expand. Fear always lives in a future that doesn't yet exist. It magnifies problems and makes solutions seem invisible. It whispers that the worst-case scenario is inevitable. But today I want to remind you of something fundamental. Fear doesn't have the last word. Even if the anxiety you felt is real in your experience, the stories fear tells you are usually false. Think about how many sleepless nights you spent worrying about disasters that never happened. How much vital energy you've invested in scenarios that only existed in the theater of your mind. Fear is a poor advisor. I'm not asking you to ignore the real challenges of the world, but rather to view them through the lens of a higher power. Nothing happens without a greater purpose. And when challenges arise, the strength to overcome them is already within you. Now say firmly, I release fear and embrace my peace. There are commitments that transcend time and circumstances. When we speak of protection and guidance, we are not speaking of empty words, but certainties that sustain the universe. The promise of not being abandoned is absolute. There is no mistake, no fall, no moment of doubt that can separate you from the source that gave you life. Unlike human relationships, which sometimes have conditions or expiration dates, this connection is eternal. Even when things seem terrible or tragic, there is a higher creative capacity that can take those dark threads and weave them into a final image full of meaning. Perhaps now you only see the knots on the reverse side of the tapestry, but completed work will be beautiful. You have been promised that your essential needs will be met, not based on the world economy or your current resources, but on an inexhaustible abundance that knows no limits. You have been offered a peace that surpasses all understanding. It is not the peace that comes when everything is in order, but the peace that protects your heart and mind right in the midst of chaos. It is that serenity that defies human logic. How can someone be calm while their world seems to be crumbling? The answer lies at the root. in being anchored to something much deeper than external circumstances. No tool designed to stop you will succeed. Obstacles will arise, yes, and the path will have its challenges, but they will not achieve their goal of destruction. What seems like a wall today will be part of your testament to overcoming adversity tomorrow. Hold fast to these truths when the noise of the world tries to convince you otherwise. Declare your strength aloud when fear tries to whisper. Your word and your faith are the anchor that will keep you firm when everything else shifts. Every battle you fought has given you a new tool. Scarcity taught you that provision comes in unexpected ways and that you're never truly helpless. Difficulties in your relationships gave you the gift of discernment. Now you know who adds to your life and who is just passing through. These lessons, though painful, are invaluable. Your struggles with physical well-being taught you to appreciate the miracle of every breath, and your mental battles showed you the importance of being mindful of what you allow into your thoughts. You've learned that thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs shape your destiny. Even doubt has served a purpose. It taught you to ask honest questions, and a faith that has grappled with questions is far stronger than one that has never questioned anything. Not a single tear has been wasted. All of that material has been used to build a wiser and more compassionate character. You are more prepared than you think for the next stage, and what lies ahead is a time of real influence. I'm not referring to superficial fame, but to the ability to change lives and leave a trace of light in dark places. Sometimes we seek our purpose on grand stages, but the truth is, the light shines in the darkest rooms of everyday life. If you feel you have the ability to bring clarity where there is confusion, perhaps your calling is to be a guide. You don't need a title to illuminate the shadows of others. You only need the wisdom to know what to say and the courage to speak from the heart. Others have hearts that are deeply moved by the suffering of others. If you can't see a need without feeling the urge to act, you are reflecting the very essence of compassion. Serving those whom the world forgets is no small task. It is the purest action there is. Don't let anything stop that impulse. The world thirsts for people who engage with the real needs of real people. Creativity isn't just a talent. It's a spark of original creation within you. If you see the world differently and need to express it through art, music, or innovation, do so unapologetically. The truth that transcends the intellect and reaches straight to the soul is essential for transforming lives. Likewise, if you find yourself leading and inspiring others, remember that the most authentic leadership is based on service and humility. It's not about being above others, but about being the one who supports and coordinates with a clear awareness of their responsibility. Even if your sphere of influence is an office, a hospital, or school, your work is profoundly spiritual. You are presence and balance in places where what is essential is often forgotten. Don't wish to be anywhere else. You are exactly where your integrity is needed. If you feel you're discovering your purpose, subscribe now to continue strengthening your path every day. Your growth is our greatest joy. I know that waiting is one of the hardest tasks. Some of you feel like you've been waiting an eternity for change, healing, or an opening. You've wondered if you misheard or if your hopes are just illusions. But I want to tell you something fundamental. In the realm of the spirit, waiting is also work. While you wait, unseen things happen. Seeds germinate beneath the earth, and your character is refined in ways only time allows. A blessing that arrives before we are ready to manage, it can easily be lost. Waiting is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Think of the process of a new life. It cannot be rushed. Time is part of the design. The fact that waiting hurts is proof that the promise is still alive within you. Dead hope breeds no anticipation. We are living at an unsustainable pace. The mind rarely stops, and the spirit barely experiences a respite it was designed to enjoy. Let me free you from a lie. Rest is not laziness, nor is it unproductive. On the contrary, it is a radical act of faith. When you rest, you declare that the world does not depend solely on your constant activity. You acknowledge your limitations and trust in a higher power. The rest you need is deeper than physical sleep. It's rest for the soul. It's the peace that comes from ceasing to strive to prove your worth through endless achievement. Your worth doesn't depend on your productivity. When you understand this, you can finally breathe out and be at peace. Now say honestly, I allow myself to rest and trust. Remember that even the most powerful battery needs recharging. Your limitations aren't flaws. They're signs inviting you to connect with an unlimited source. Make the choice to pause, to close off distractions, and to open your heart to the presence that empowers you. Have you ever woken up feeling just as tired after sleeping for 8 hours? That happens because even though your body stopped, your mind never stopped working. You've been carrying endless decisions, tensions with other people, and worries about things that, frankly, are beyond your control. Your soul has been bearing a weight it wasn't designed to carry. I want to teach you how to transfer that weight. It's not a one-time thing, but a constant practice. Every time you feel anxiety starting to spiral, take it as an invitation to release the burden. Your shoulders aren't broad enough to carry all of this, but the strength that sustains you is. Learning to trust is, ultimately, learning to let go of what isn't yours to carry. I know there are memories that still try to haunt you, decisions you wish you could erase, or words you'd like to reclaim. The past is often persistent, trying to color your present with shades of shame or regret. However, there's a way to redeem that story. It's not about erasing what happened, but about changing its meaning, transforming a source of pain into a testament to overcoming adversity. The forgiveness offered to you is complete. It is not partial or temporary. It is a total liberation. Sometimes, forgiving yourself is harder than receiving forgiveness from others. You punish yourself for things that should have been forgotten long ago, and that is not humility. It is a form of pride that tries to claim your mistake is greater than the grace that restores you. Receive the freedom that has already been paid for you. Similarly, forgiving those who have hurt you is vital for your own well-being. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only harms you and chains you to the past. Forgiving doesn't mean what they did was right, nor does it obligate you to maintain a relationship with someone who is toxic to your life. It simply means releasing that debt so you can move forward free from bitterness. Now say honestly, I forgive, I let go, and I move forward in peace. Even if tomorrow seems uncertain, you're not walking into the unknown alone. Imagine that every day of your life has already been observed and that there's a plan for every step you take. You have no reason to fear the future, not because everything will be easy, but because the same loyalty that has brought you this far will sustain you through whatever comes. There are plans designed for you before you were even born, based on a greater purpose that isn't thwarted by your mistakes. Some of these plans will unfold as you expect, but others will completely surprise you, opening doors you never even knew existed. Remain open-minded and flexible. Worrying about the worst-case scenario only robs you the joy of the present. Remember that each day brings its own strength and its own guidance. Don't try to carry the weight of next year today. Gratitude is much more than a pleasant feeling. It's a state of mind that changes everything. By choosing to be grateful, you declare that there is goodness in your life despite difficult circumstances. It helps you shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. The breath in your lungs, your resilience, and your faith are immense gifts. I invite you to practice intentional gratitude. This not only transforms your spiritual perspective, but also rewires your mind for resilience. Even in the darkest seasons, there is always evidence of goodness if you look closely. You are not a work in progress. You are someone in whom there is profound delight. Your worth is so high that everything has been invested in you. True love is not a fleeting emotion. It is the essence of everything that sustains you. It is patient, selfless, and always protective. This is a love that is developing within you, one that isn't manufactured through effort, but flows naturally when you connect with your original source. In a world filled with despair, you have the power to be an anchor of faith. In the grand design of life, hope is much more than a wish. It is the greatest wager you can make on your very existence. Without it, the spirit withers and the will to try fades. Imagine hope as the oxygen of your soul. It is what allows you to keep moving forward when logic tells you to stop. What drives you to trust when circumstances seem to scream that all is lost. I don't want you to have a fragile hope, the kind that barely suffices to survive. I want you to cultivate an abundance of hope so contagious that when others encounter you, they leave stronger than when they arrived. Not because you pretend there are no problems, but because you have connected with the original source of all positive expectation. When hope is genuine, faith arises naturally, and that is where your true inner power is activated. We often confuse happiness with joy. Happiness is fickle. It depends on things going our way. But joy is a firm trust, a deep root that knows that No matter what happens, you're supported and everything will turn out all right. You can feel pain and joy at the same time. It's a mystery, but it's real. Joy doesn't ignore wounds. It lives with them while reminding you that the attack of fear hasn't succeeded in destroying you. Your joy is, in reality, a weapon of spiritual warfare. When you maintain your serenity despite challenges, you are testifying that nothing can steal your essence. You don't need to accomplish great feats to be a source of pride. Your mere existence and your decision to persevere are already a victory to be celebrated in silence. She now says with conviction, "My joy is my strength, and nothing can take it away from me." You have been given a peace that is not merely the absence of problems, but the presence of profound harmony. This peace cannot be manufactured by human effort, nor bought with material possessions. It is the natural state of a soul that remains connected to its source. When we try to find peace by controlling our environment or eliminating external stress, we usually fail, because peace is an internal process. You can be in the most peaceful place in the world and feel a turmoil in your chest, or be in the midst of chaos and feel absolute calm. My invitation is to allow that peace to eclipse your worries. What keeps you awake at night is no greater than the force that protects you. Patience isn't passive waiting. It's active resistance. It's continuing to do the right thing even when the results aren't immediately visible. Patience is required for promises to be fulfilled in your life, because the gap between desire and reality is the training ground for your character. If you demand that everything happen according to your timeline, you'll only create frustration that poisons your present. Similarly, kindness is love in action. It's treating others better than they think they deserve. The world is accustomed to harshness and constant criticism. That's why, when someone shows genuine kindness, the world stops. A small, kind gesture can be a turning point in someone's life. Never underestimate the power of a kind word spoken at the right moment. Faithfulness is a commitment to keep your word, and it's the foundation of every strong relationship. It doesn't depend on your being perfect, but on your direction. Faithful people are the ones who always return, the ones who continue to choose the path of good even after stumbling. Be faithful in the small things, in the responsibilities that seem insignificant, because that's where your integrity for great things is forged. Ultimately, gentleness is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is having the power to be tough and choosing instead to be tender. In a world where aggression prevails, being gentle is a strategic advantage. A gentle response disarms anger and creates safe spaces where others can heal. Self-control is perhaps one of the most misunderstood virtues. The world presents it as something restrictive, as an enemy of enjoyment, but the reality is the opposite. A lack of self-control is what leads to true enslavement. Without discipline, you become a prisoner of your own impulses and fleeting desires. I want you to think of self-control as a muscle. It doesn't depend solely on your willpower, which is a steering wheel, but on the energy you receive from a larger source, which is the engine. When you strengthen this ability in small areas, like your diet or your thoughts in moments of calm, you prepare yourself for the big battles. Self-control doesn't take away your options. It gives you the freedom to choose what truly matters instead of being swept away by what's urgent or easy. I'm not talking about your past strengths to make you overconfident, but to prepare you. A prepared soldier prepares differently. You must know that challenges don't disappear completely. Discouragement and self-doubt are persistent, and will seek out moments when you let your guard down, when you're exhausted or distracted. But remember, the strength you've built within yourself is not fragile. What you've already overcome is proof that you can handle what's to come. To protect you, you have a real spiritual team. Truth is a foundation. It gives you stability in the face of deception. When you know your true worth, lies have nowhere to take root. Integrity is a shield. Not because you are perfect, but because you are covered by a higher righteousness. This protects your heart from guilt and condemnation. Peace is footwear. It gives you a firm step. You don't slip on uncertain ground because you know exactly where you stand. Faith is an act of defense. It extinguishes the attacks of fear and doubt. You must choose to believe in the promises over the threats. Wisdom as a weapon. Knowledge of universal principles allows you to pierce through the fog of confusion. Now say, I am equipped and ready to move forward. Let your statement resonate. You weren't designed to walk in isolation. Isolation is where fear takes root. You need people who encourage you, challenge you, and pray with you during difficult times. Seek out a healthy community where you can be honest about your struggles. Don't wait until you got it all figured out to reach out to others. Community is precisely for those who are still building. Your life has an impact that transcends your own time. You are a generation in transition. This means you have the opportunity to break cycles of dysfunction that have affected your family for decades. What was true for your ancestors doesn't necessarily have to be true for your children. You can be the bridge to a new emotional and spiritual well-being. Think about your legacy. What inheritance will you leave beyond the material? Faith, character, and love are the relics that truly matter. Lie with the awareness that you are planting trees under whose shade you may never sit, but which will provide shelter for future generations. Finally, remember that everything you have is a trust, not absolute possession. Your time, your talents, and your relationships have been entrusted to you to manage wisely. Time, it's your most precious resource because it's non-renewable. Invest it in things that have eternal value. Your talents are not just for your benefit, but to help others. Don't bury them for fear of failure. Relationships, they're not accessories, they're gifts. Dedicate time to them. Listen attentively and value every person you meet along the way. This steward's perspective frees you from the anxiety of possessing and allows you to live with generosity and courage. You are here for something greater than yourself. Sometimes we think our daily decisions are insignificant, but the reality is that every word and every action resonates in eternity. A simple act of kindness or sincere prayer can be the link that changes a person's destiny forever. Nothing is small when viewed through the lens of eternity. Thousands of years from now, your professional degrees, your bank balance, and your social status won't matter. The only thing that will remain is your connection to the source of life and how much you help others find that same path. Let this perspective shape your priorities today. Invest in what doesn't fade away. Surrender is perhaps the most difficult and, at the same time, the most liberating invitation you will ever receive. In the world, surrender means defeat. But in the spiritual realm, surrender is the ultimate victory. It is the moment you stop fighting with your own limited strength and begin to flow with infinite wisdom. Control is, to a large extent, an illusion. You can't control what happens around you, only how you respond to it. Clinging to that imagined control creates a burden you're not designed to carry. Surrender doesn't happen in a single event, but in layers. Today you release a worry, tomorrow a dream, the day after fear. Each area you let go of brings you closer to true freedom. Ask yourself honestly today, what part of your life are you still holding back? What are you afraid of losing if you give yourself completely? Awareness is a first step to opening your hands and receiving what you truly need. Pause and confidently declare, I release control and trust the process. You weren't created merely to exist, but to worship. And worship is much more than singing songs for a few minutes. It's a way of being. It's performing every task, every conversation, and every decision as an offering. When you worship, you align yourself with reality and create an atmosphere where peace manifests tangibly. Worship is also a tool of spiritual warfare. It declares your worth above the lies that try to discourage you. When you focus on the greatness of what sustains you, your problems regain their proper perspective. It's not an obligation. It's a gift that restores hope every time you practice it. More than your service or your achievements, what is most desired from you is your intimacy. You are not a number or a project. You are someone with whom a deep and real relationship is sought. You don't need credentials or years of religious training to approach. You only need an open heart. Closeness grows with time, with each sincere conversation, and each moment of shared silence. This connection is what produces true transformation. It's not about improving your external behavior, but about changing yourself from the inside out. You are becoming a new version of yourself. This process occurs primarily through the renewal of your mind. Your way of thinking determines your way of living. Your mind is where most of your victories and defeats are decided. You must be ruthless about what you allow in. Not all the thoughts that cross your mind are yours or true. Learn to discern. Those thoughts that bring fear and condemnation are intruders. Examine it. Is it true? Does it bring me peace or destroy me? Challenge it. Don't let lies flow freely. Replace it. Fill the void with solid promises and truths. What you meditate on expands. If you focus on the problem grows in your perception. If you focus on the solution and the strength you possess, your faith will flourish. You have the power to decide what dominates your mental landscape. Use it wisely. Your words are not just sounds. They are tools of creation or destruction. It is said that the tongue has the power of life and death. And this is a profound truth. What comes out of your mouth reveals what truly dwells in your heart. If you want to know what's inside you, listen to what you say when you're under pressure, tired, or stressed. That's where your most authentic self flows. I invite you to speak life deliberately. Choose words that build up, bless, and sow hope. What you confess shapes what you experience. Be slow to speak. Many of our greatest regrets stem from hasty words spoken in a moment of carelessness. Before you speak, ask yourself these questions. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? If it doesn't meet these criteria, silence is the best option. True wisdom is often found in the words we choose to keep silent. Obedience is not a set of harsh rules. It is a natural response of one who trusts their Creator. It is not about legalism or trying to gain favor, but about a relationship. You obey because you know that every instruction is designed for your well-being. Partial obedience is, in reality, a form of rebellion. It is trying to decide which rules are valid according to your own convenience. When you align yourself with universal principles, you place yourself under a constant flow of blessing. It's not a bribe, it's cause and effect. It's like standing under a waterfall. Disobedience is simply stepping aside and wondering why you're no longer getting wet. Stay in the flow of life by following the path that has been laid out for you. You have a calling that no one else can fulfill. Your purpose in this world was determined long before you were born. Don't compare your path to others. Your strengths and weaknesses are the perfect complement to your assignment. In fact, your weaknesses are there so you can learn to rely on a greater power. Don't wait until you feel completely ready to act. Clarity comes with experience. Take the next step of faith. Remember that faith without action is just an intellectual concept. True faith takes risks, moves forward before having all the answers, and trusts in the character of the one who leads. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. She boldly states, I accept my calling and trust in my inner strength. Life isn't a sprint. It's a marathon that requires endurance. Many start with great enthusiasm, but few finish with the same integrity. Perseverance isn't stubbornness. It's a decision to stay the course despite the difficulties. There will be times when giving up seems like the most logical thing to do, but it's in those moments that you must listen to the voice that compels you to keep going. Finishing well requires constant vigilance. Don't assume you've made it just because you've been on this path for years. Keep growing, keep learning, and above all, stay connected to your community. Isolation becomes tempting over time, but you need others to keep you going until the end. Don't withdraw from life. Immerse yourself in it. As you finish this section, open your heart completely. You are loved not for what you do, but for who you are. That love is the most certain thing in the universe, more stable than mountains, and more enduring than time. Your worth is not determined by your productivity. Your worth was established by the high price paid for your existence. You are not alone. Whatever you are facing, you are walking through it together. The loneliness you sometimes feel is not your reality. It is only a shadow that dissipates in the presence of the one who supports you. You are stronger than you believe, and you have reserves of faith that you have yet to discover. It's crucial that you understand this. You're not fighting to win. You're fighting from a position of victory. The outcome of your battle is already assured. The strength within you is real and sufficient for whatever comes. Don't walk burdened by fear, but with the head held high of someone who knows they belong to the winning side. I release a specific blessing upon you today. Clarity of mind, stability of emotions, and renewed health in your body. I bless your finances so that you may move from scarcity to abundance, and your relationships so that they may reach a depth you never imagined. You are safe under protection the enemy cannot penetrate. No word spoken against you will prevail, for your identity is anchored in eternity. I know you care about the well-being of your loved ones and that you've spent sleepless nights praying for their protection. I assure you that none of those prayers have been in vain. Dangers you'll never know have been averted, and destructive influences have been blocked, all thanks to your intercession. Your prayers create a real covering in the physical world. If you have family members who are far away or making wrong choices, don't lose hope. I am working behind the scenes, softening hearts and arranging encounters that will bring them back. Your home is sacred ground. The faith you have sown will create an atmosphere where their restoration is inevitable. Your children and descendants are marked with a purpose that will not be erased by their temporary mistakes. Trust the process. Write with faith in the comments. My family is under divine protection, and they will lack nothing. Sometimes you feel weak and think that an obstacle, but in my kingdom, your weakness is the perfect stage for my power to be displayed. When you stop pretending you have everything under control and acknowledge your need, you become invincible. The battles you face weren't meant to destroy you, but to train your spiritual muscles. What the enemy intended to use to bring you down, I have used to build a foundation of your testimony. You don't need a giant of faith to move mountains. You only need real faith, even if it's as small as a mustard seed. That faith doesn't demand to see the end of the road. It's simply willing to take the next step, holding my hand. It's not a transaction. It's a connection to the infinite power that activates the moment you decide to trust. I offer you a peace that doesn't depend on your problems disappearing, but on my constant presence in the midst of them. It is an active peace that guards your heart like a sentinel, filtering what you allow to affect you. Let this calm silence every fear and still every inner storm. Along with that peace, I release a profound joy. It is not a superficial happiness based on luck, but a stable strength that allows you to smile even through tears. This joy is your weapon against despair. Rejoice, not because life is easy, but because I am more real than any difficulty you face. Move forward from this moment as a different person. Something has been imparted to your spirit today. You have been strengthened, equipped, and reminded of your infinite worth. Don't let daily distractions steal what has been planted in this message. Return to these truths whenever doubt knocks at your door. I am proud of you. I see your effort. I see your heart, and I see your quiet victories. Keep going, keep loving, and keep serving. What I have begun in you, I will complete with unwavering faithfulness. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Go forth with the strength I have given you. Face whatever you must face, and always remember, I am with you every step of the way, closer than your own breath. If this message brought peace to your soul, don't leave without doing 3 important things. Comment. Write, I receive my strength today, to seal this word in your heart. Subscribe. Join our family so you don't miss a single dose of hope. Share. Send this video to someone who needs to be reminded today that they are not alone. Thanks for being here. See you in the next message.